nightmare.
Hello and welcome back to Cinema Subculture series of Batman specials, part 4, and final one, where we get to talk about The Dark Knight Rises.
Finally. Yep, after some cock-ups with some tickets and things like that
Right.
I had. I eventually got to see it on Tuesday, Gary. You saw it on last Friday.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
on
I've
20th.
now seen it twice.
I've seen it twice. I've only seen it once, but
Right.
I'm sure that's more than enough for us to talk about it.
So if you listen to this and you don't want spoilers...
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Aye, if you haven't seen it yet, which I can't imagine there'll be anyone who wants to see it hasn't seen it. But if you haven't seen it yet, turn it off.
And you care about spoilers,
Yeah.
better not to listen.
That's right. So Gary, what did you think?
I loved it.
It was
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
epic, man. It was like, it blew my mind.
Aye.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Right.
Like, I really am, because I was kind of, I wasn't sure, because there's a lot of beats that are echoes of things that happened in Begins. It's like almost, I described it straight after it came out. It's got like equal parts of both. Kind of texture of Batman Begins and Dark Knight. It kind of brings. I'd mentioned to you before that the worlds of Batman Begins and Dark Knight felt kind of detached sometimes, like a little, almost like just completely different tones of film, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
But this kind of brings it back and like confirms that they are, properly in the same world, if you know what I mean.
This was the first film I'd seen in IMAX, and
Yeah.
to be honest, it was almost overwhelming. Like,
Even I've seen films in my IMAX before.
Yeah.
See, when it popped up,
aye,
there was no trailers in ours showing. So last IMAX film I saw, there was trailers,
Right.
which is weird. But this, when it popped up, it was like it
Aye.
just blew you away.
and the combination, like 2 hours 40 minutes, such a long film, and all that visual information like coming at your brain, that's a wee bit. I was struggling to kind of keep up. Like, it's a lot of plot as well in the film. So
I just love how you have to like, with our cinemas anyway, the ones locally, so often you go and it's like the smallest screen probably in the cinema for the
Right.
films we want to see, and it's like I could probably buy a bigger telly than that.
Right.
But with this, it's like you actually have to move your head to take in all the picture.
yeah, that's it. Aye.
Especially in the stuff that's shot in IMAX. And it's so well like designed, like the photography and stuff like that. It's just, there's so much information. You just see information in the frame.
Yeah, when I saw it on Friday, I came out, I really didn't know what I thought about it. I knew I liked it, and all I could think of, this is fucking epic. It's the kind of only word I could come up with. It is, I mean, it's interesting. Did you watch the featurette thing?
The making
It
of
was-
thing.
aye.
No, I haven't watched
Ah,
it yet.
right.
I'd been staying away from it until I could see the film.
Aye.
But since I've seen it, I've been kind of like just holding off, just kind of till we get to this point. So I don't want to really
Right.
taint anything.
Okay.
What my kind of just initial.
Yeah, well, it was interesting that they were talking about watching silent cinema and like real Hollywood epics that they could do back like in the kind of golden age of Hollywood, and this film in that way kind of recreates that. And the fact that you have scenes with like thousands of extras, and it's kind of an anomaly these days because it's a film generally Hollywood can't make anymore.
Yeah.
Because if you want that, you have to do it CGI.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that this film kind of is such an anomaly, and like it's one of the rare things where the studio knew it was going to be a banker, so they could actually put that money in and
Yeah.
get that kind of real epic image.
Totally. I mean, even right from the opening, I know we get the kind of. Do we get a wee bit flash of Gordon talking at the end of Dark Knight, talking about Harvey Dent.
Yeah,
And then it goes into the prologue, inverted commas, from the IMAX thing, which was shot over Inverness, I believe.
Right.
They actually had to clear out like a big section of Inverness
Oh,
in case anything come down. But I mean, that was all done physically, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like, that's what you want, isn't it? I mean, in the IMAX, I mean, it just was absolutely stunning. And so kind of, I don't know, just the whole film. I mean, like the way I described it, I loved the Avengers film, right? But this makes the Avengers look like a kids film,
Right, yeah.
and it was a kids film. But there was so much gravitas and like so much at stake. It felt during this whole film. Much, I mean, that's same with Dark Knight, you know what I mean? But this was just, it was another level
Yeah.
of kind of what was at stake. And as soon as like you hear Bane speaking for the first time, like it's just
Yeah.
I mean, it makes the hairs go up in the back of your neck when he says like that. Like you're probably wondering why you'd shoot a man before throwing him out the plane. It's
Yeah.
just yeah. So I mean, every second that IMAX footage in this film was worthwhile. Like, as much as the rest of the footage, but like as soon as it hit that, you knew I don't know. It was just like you had to look at all four sides of the corners of the screen.
I didn't even know where to look really. Even the 35mm stuff, it's like so much bigger, and the fact that you're kind of closer to the screen than you might normally be. But I had to wait till I saw it again till I really could take it all in and kind of gather my thoughts about it. But yeah, what I love about it, I think, in terms of the content, definitely the darkest version I've ever seen, and also the fact it's a kind of less told story in terms of film. I mean, The Dark Knight was something, Batman going up against the Joker, you've seen that time and time again, but I loved how this was a bit more, it's obviously it's 8 years after, and it's Bruce Wayne, basically Batman's no longer needed, and it's Bruce kind of struggling with his own identity. And I think we see in this, if we start from Batman Begins, he starts off as Bruce Wayne, then the arc, Batman is the Dark Knight, and then this is like kind of full circle when he can resolve his own psyche, coming back to Bruce Wayne. So great end to the story. I felt.
I mean, definitely, and like there's so many like little kind of, I mean, there's a lot of points in it that I noticed. Elements from other films. Say, you know what I mean? Like the beginning, like when Selena Kyle is like the maid, and she's up to take him food. That felt very like a kind of Beauty and the Beast. Almost, because they're talking about, the kind of west or the east wing, whatever, where he's like, that he only stays up there, and she comments that there's no long fingernails and scarred feet. It's very kind of Beauty and the Beast, I thought.
Howard Hughes as well.
Yeah. But I mean, all the relationships were there. I mean, from the previous films, and again, built upon, and I absolutely, and I'm not a fan usually. I've not seen her enough stuff, to be fair, but I absolutely love Dan Hathaway's Selena Kyle. Most, comic book accurate, I would say.
Right.
Live action Catwoman ever. I'd say,
Yeah. I did feel maybe she was a little bit on the cute side to play Catwoman.
What do you mean?
Like, I normally think of Catwoman as a bit more kind of sexy.
Oh, you mean her
just the way she looks, basically.
I get you, yeah. I kind of know what you mean. No.
Yeah, she was trying to go for the sexy femme fatale, but I thought
I found her I thought she was more of the classy Catwoman.
Right.
You know what I mean? Less than this. I mean, they've portrayed her pretty sexy wise in the comics recently.
Right.
But I don't know. No, I thought it worked. I thought it was. Okay. It was. I was very surprised. I didn't think I was gonna like her that much.
Aye.
But I mean, there's the scene that we get, like the first, once Batman's back, the first time he's kind of back, and we see him fighting with Catwoman. I loved that scene. Like, see when he comes, she's like kind of just taking them out, like, and shooting them with their own guns and stuff like that. He comes in and just punches the gun out of her hand.
Right, aye.
And they hit, and then comes back and he's like, no guns, kind of thing like that. Thought that was just brilliant.
Right.
And then there's a bit like just after that, the kind of thugs come out with like semi-automatics or whatever, or automatic guns, and they start kind of running off the rooftop. I looked like it was out the animated series almost. You know what I mean? No, I thought she was really good as Catwoman.
Right.
As I say, I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to like her.
Okay.
Right from that, when she changes as the maid.
Yeah.
When he catches her with his mum's pearls. And then she flips out the window. I thought, I was like, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, the only kind of problem I had with the character was it felt she got the short end of the stick in terms of screen time.
Yeah.
There wasn't quite enough backstory for me, like, to develop the character.
Okay.
But I don't think that was necessarily bad filmmaking. It's just like the film's already 2 hours 40 minutes. How much longer can it go?
I mean, I felt this film could have been longer.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like,
I mean, not just from my personal enjoyment, not just from me sitting watching it. I felt there was stuff that could have been elaborated on, like maybe what you're talking about, but there was stuff when he was in the prison. I kind of was wanting more of a kind of, not maybe like Batman Begins training type thing, but more of a kind of build up. I felt that was maybe a little rushed.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like, at that point, you're just wanting to get back to the city, aren't you? You really are. You're just
kind of
that 5 month period. I think it's 5 months, isn't it?
Right.
They say that the bomb's going to explode or something like that.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
Because after that, Dr. Pavel comes in and kind of jiggery pokes the reactor,
right?
And he says it's definitely going to explode in 5 months. That 5 months went past like nobody's business. Oh right, sorry, we're just flipping past. I've just like right. You go for it. You're going to say.
I'm just going to say it. Like, I kind of wish they'd pulled the Harry Potter, like, to break it into 2.
Oh yeah, actually.
Because I mean, I could have like 6 hours. I could have spent with these characters.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been an epic build up. Because I mean, like, I wasn't expecting to get Batman's. I was thinking they were going to go the Batman Begins thing and maybe go like an hour without Batman. Maybe getting him back into shape. But when he turned up, I've never been as excited to see Batman in a film
Right, okay.
ever. Like even in Batman Begins when they waited the hour.
Aye.
I don't know, just something about because we knew we knew he was going to face Bane, and we knew kind of that he was going to maybe fail from what we'd seen from the trailers, and the fact that like his knees are shot and things, he uses that like leg brace and and you know that he's not quite. You know there's going to be a fall, I guess. You know what I mean? You know that something's going to happen. But as soon as you see him on the Batpod, and he looks a little shaky on the Batpod, I thought, it's quite well played, as if like, he's been out of the game for a bit.
Aye.
And I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And the bit that really got me was before he even, just as he was going to put the Batsuit back on, when he was investigating Selena Kyle, obviously the mansion's back, Wayne Manor. Which was awesome, and I had kind of forgot about it in my head, even though it's like the biggest thing that I've been waiting for him since Batman Begins. You hear Alfred playing the two notes in the piano, which are the same ones that they played in Begins, and I literally jizzed all over the floor, and I almost screamed out, Batcave! I was like, yes, Batcave! Because I wanted to see it, because they promised it at the end of Batman Begins, and we never got anything really like a Batcave, the look and whatever in Dark Knight, and as soon as that he played those two notes, I was like, practically jumping out my seat, and it was just a nice simple Batcave. You know what I mean? It had the desk and the monitors, and I loved the shit coming out the floor. And it was awesome. But yeah, it was fun. It was just great.
Definitely the best of the trilogy, I think. For me, what I was saying, the most interesting story, and it doesn't quite suffer from the kind of problems I had with Dark Knight, the kind of things like set piece after set piece at the end.
Yeah, definitely.
He simplifies it. He just says, right, one big epic set piece at the end, the same way he did in its Inception. I guess the most basic dramatic tension, like the way to build tension. A bomb's going to go off. Get 10 minutes.
I did think that afterwards. I thought like kind of, as epic as it is, it does start off from a very like kind of MacGuffin, like, you know what I mean? Like kind of a thing, like where you kind of know. Like as soon as they mention, they kind of bring up the reactors fairly soon, fairly quick at the beginning, but he's kind of trying to, energy for the world or whatever, which is kind of weird because like Tony Stark was doing that in the Avengers as well.
All right.
But he wasn't worried about it blowing up though. But it was kind of nicely woven into it. You know what I mean? It wasn't too kind of like here. There were some things that were kind of very, very slapped over your head, which a certain autopilot system, which, but we'll get there. But yeah, it was kind of like the kind of like in Batman Begins when they introduced the microwave emitter,
right?
But it was nice and early, so it wasn't just a kind of shit. We need an ending, right? You know what I mean? So it was there from the beginning.
Maybe a nod to the Batman the movie.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like the ending. You know what I mean? Running down the pier, more or less.
Just can't get rid of a bomb.
That's it. Even the same, just like a proper round bomb.
So it's with that set up, and then as it's going on, he's like. Does a great job of increasing the tension with little things like the bridge getting blown up that no one can escape, and it's the same thing he does in Inception, but I think it's slightly more a beautiful thing in Inception because I guess it's a more fantastic situation, like the way they can just go down the levels, and each time they go down they've got a certain, they can double the time, and then they go down to no meant to go down to the last one. Well,
that's such a genius idea. You know what I mean? It's just you can't take that away from Inception at all.
And a more real world setting, you've no kind of get that luxury. I still think it's a much more well executed ending in terms of just racking up the tension. Even though in my perfect Batman film, we wouldn't be flying about in the Batplane, dropping a bomb into the sea, to be honest. But I'm not a massive fan of that style action set piece. But I accept it. That's what people mostly want to see, and I'm fine to go with that.
Definitely. I mean, like when he first comes back as Batman, like, but for all intents and purposes, he doesn't look necessarily soft, if you know what I mean. Like he seems to be like he can handle himself. I guess he's never had like the kind of physical challenge that Bane presents to him. I mean, like we've mentioned him, Bane, but I mean, what did you think of Tom Hardy? Like, I mean, for like, just having a pair of eyes, that's all. I mean, that's all he could use. I mean, and even his voice. I mean, I don't know if that's how it sounded when you went into the prologue. Right. Did it sound like that, or was it? It was
better. They fixed it a little bit, and it was clearer.
It felt a little disembodied. Do you know what I mean? It definitely felt as if it was echoing about that mask before it came out, almost. Aye. But I mean, creepy as
like was it? Meant to be English South American mix.
Well, I don't know. It just sounds like an old English man, doesn't it? It really does.
Right. Aye.
This one must be more severe. It's It's just perfect. I mean, what a direction to take it. I mean, like Bane was he was like South American originally, wasn't he? But like I don't think they could have done it creepy. I don't think it'd have been I don't think it'd have been better at all if they went with that South American accent.
Aye.
I don't know if it would work the same at all. But I mean, elevates. I mean, I liked Bane. You know, in the comics, the idea of Bane anyway. But I mean, elevates the character well beyond that. I found like even from the kind of translation of the Venom drug to the pain relief medication or whatever he's got in the mask. I mean, that was really quite clever. I thought, you know, to a real world application. Yeah,
that was actually a really good way to solve that problem, because it was always a slight fear that what they're going to do. Obviously, we knew Nolan wasn't going to do the swelling up twice the size, but it gives him the reason for his edge over Batman.
What about Joseph Gordon-Levitt? What do you think of him?
Oh yeah, he kind of made the film in a lot of ways, because I love that guy.
Almost it was like you've got the heart of the film's Batman, I guess, but like Joseph Gordon-Levitt brings a kind of the people of Gotham. He's like kind of that side, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The city, it almost brings the city like emotionally to life. You know what I mean? Because we usually have like the kind of seedy underbelly, and we have Batman fighting against that. And we have Jim Gordon, but like, he kind of seems very, I guess, not weary, but just driven down by it. You know what I mean? Trying to like fight against it as well. Whereas like the John Blake character seems to just be like the heart of the city.
Yeah.
The kind of everyman of the city, if you know what I mean. Not necessarily a high ranking cop or like a terrible criminal, just like right in the middle, just to kind of, you know. What did you think of his scene when he went to him about and is like, I know you're Batman?
Yeah, I quite liked it, because it was a way to...
I've heard some kind of criticism of it, like,
oh yeah,
because like kind of people saying, like if Selena Kyle can't work out who the fuck he is from him saying I've got powerful friends, and then all of a sudden Batman's there, right? But John Blake kind of picks it up from like a look on his face. No, but like, I totally bought it when I was watching it. I never thought about it when I was back watching it, because I mean he says it's like his mum died early on. He doesn't really remember that, but his dad gets shot by like gangland people. He says, which is very similar to the Batman thing. So you can kind of see why there would be kind of a similar thing. But to me, it kind of evoked with what was to come, the kind of Tim Drake or like Robin origin, like figuring it out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It wasn't the same thing with you know his parents or anything like that, but just the kind of deducing it out.
No, I thought that's quite an elegant way to solve, because we knew that. Well, in the Nightfall storyline, obviously Bane figures out Batman's identity. It was an elegant way to bring that into the story. I guess it's also about exposing the identity to we get to a place where Batman doesn't need to hide. It's about his redemption.
Yeah. So the kind of build up to the first battle, like it was quite a nice scene, I thought, with Batman and Catwoman going through the sewers, like taking out the guys and stuff like that. I don't know, like there was a bit where Catwoman's like, these aren't your ordinary brawlers or something like that.
Right, aye.
And like Batman's like, neither am I.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I felt that was a bit braggy. Is that like is Batman going to say that? Like, but I guess that's kind of that. I felt that was kind of part of him coming back, because people keep telling him that he can't do it. Like Alfred seems to be telling him, you know, he can't do it and stuff like that, and he's showing him the video of Bane and stuff like that, and he's kind of saying like, I'll just fight harder kind of thing.
Well, that's one interesting conversation they have, where he's saying to Bruce Wayne, you basically want to fail, because in some ways that's vindicates your identity as Batman, whereas you can't just live as Bruce Wayne anymore at the start of the film.
It's like he basically literally can't, because he's not been living for the last 8 years, you know what I mean? He's just not being in society. I mean, that fight scene, that was like heart in the mouth. I mean, that was like a similar way that the Joker scene, you know, the kind of the battle that he has verbally with the Joker in Dark Knight, you know, it kind of evoked a kind of similar feeling, but this was just like brutal, man.
Yeah, the fact there was no music.
It was just I felt. You almost felt physically sick, you know. Just with kind of, oh my, like, I've never wanted to be Batman less than I did in that one moment when he starts getting his head pounded in,
right? Yeah,
and the mask starts shattering. I mean, that's like, it was awesome. It was just so good. And then he like literally, he's like, he blows the bottom down at the bottom of Wayne Enterprises, like, you know, the tumblers fall down. And he says like, oh, first I'll show you where my new hideout is, and then I'm going to break you. Like. And getting into this film, I never expected him to do the back break, but see when he lifted him up, I was like, oh no! I actually went, oh my god, like, because it was just like I wasn't expecting. I don't know why. I don't know. I thought it was going to take like, I wasn't sure how they would do it, because I thought that would take too much of a, like, there's only like an hour and believe it or not, another like
Right.
40 minutes left of the film, only. But I didn't know how they were going to do it all, tie it all up if they had broke his back. And I guess they got around it by not technically breaking it.
Right, yeah.
You know, totally fucked it. But as soon as you lifted him up above his head, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah, see, the only thing I thought with that is they didn't. It was so quick. Like they didn't quite hold that shot. Or anything, 'cause
I know.
I didn't even notice it in the first time I saw it.
What?
To be honest, yeah.
Oh,
I don't
really?
know if it was just like there was so much coming at me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to the second time I thought, no, they actually did that.
Oh man, I just couldn't believe when I saw it. I was absolutely gobsmacked because just the brutal beating that he'd taken, I thought that was like enough. Like leave the guy alone. You know what I mean? Honestly, when it started, when he was punching him, I mean, like Batman was giving him everything. You know what I mean? It really. I mean, he was screaming.
Aye.
And like, you never like heard him under so much stress. Like, you know, like kind of it has to verbally. You know what I mean? He was just so like raging, I guess, like because he was throwing everything at this guy that would usually knock people out.
Aye.
And it was not even moving him.
He throws the little gas.
Oh man,
It's so pathetic.
That almost makes you want to cry because you're like, oh man, it's like this is him down. He's nothing left.
Yeah.
He's throwing like sparklers at the guy. I mean, it was so. And then even when he put the lights out and stuff like that, you just feel he's literally at the end of his tether. He's got nothing left at all. And it's great, like being like, you know, he manages to beat the shit out of him. Literally, I mean, that's light, putting it light, and give this like amazing like villain monologue as he's doing it. You know, about the League of Shadows and stuff like that, and it's terrifying. It's just because you just know there's nothing they can do. And I mean, from the moment like Selena, like, I mean, Catwoman, Selena Kyle effectively betrays him for her own life. I mean, like you can understand. Like it's not I never felt any kind of hatred towards her because she was very much like kind of, well, you asked me to take there and they were going to kill me otherwise, and they would have done.
Right,
he was killing people like literally from his first scene in the film right through. But as soon as that grate come down,
Aye.
you just knew it was not good times. I mean, so much. That was such a good fight scene.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's hazard to call it a fight scene because it was just a literal brutal beating. But as I say, when they're that close up in the cowl and it started to crack,
yeah,
that was hard to watch. I mean, we've watched some fucked up shit, but it was hard to watch Batman going through that. I'm not gonna lie.
I guess, but I don't know.
Oh, I mean,
I love Bane as a character. Like,
oh no, it was.
We know what's gonna resolve itself.
Yeah. Oh, I just mean it was like
somehow like that's why I thought originally when I first read the Nightfall story, it was so refreshing. It breaks the rules. This guy can actually defeat. Batman can be defeated.
Yeah.
Like it takes you out of that safety zone of the hero always being victorious. One of the greatest scenes in the film, definitely.
You just felt like. As you see, that could have been the end of the first film if they were doing a two-part film, and that would have been fine with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. That just encapsulates the film for me. That scene just it felt so epic, but nothing. Like, there was two characters fighting. All of Bane's men were just standing back because they knew.
Yeah.
There was nothing they were going to do. There was nothing extra they could do that this guy wasn't able to do to him. And he actually peels off the mask off his face.
Right.
The broken mask, you hear it going like that. Oh, it was awesome. It was so epic. And even like, the next part where he's got him in the prison and he's talking to him and stuff like that was really intense as well. What is it he says? He's talking about like torture. He says, you know, why didn't you kill me? And he says, like, you can torture me. And he says, yeah. And he's like, but not of your body. And then he takes this like pause. And then like it's just really creepy. And he's like, of your soul. It's like, I don't know. It's just kind of fucked up. And then he leans on him, like he's on his chest as he gets up. Oh man, that's sad. What did you think of the stuff in the prison?
The prison's interesting. You have the sort of well. It's a well, isn't it? Echoing Batman Begins. Sure. The fall he has down the well, and really a sort of visual representation of where Bruce Wayne gets to, like utter depths, and can he resurrect himself? He has to regain his fear.
Aye, yeah. His fear of dying.
Yes, indeed.
I thought it was quite a nice, like, kind of, you know, like, you can, because you do think, oh, like, Batman's not fearing, but like, it was kind of nice. It was kind of, you know, you're like, oh yeah, like that's like it totally makes sense. It's like you're not gonna try your hardest if you're not scared of dying. Yeah, he really wasn't. You know, I mean, he wasn't necessarily wanting to die, but he just wasn't He did.
What did you think about how they resolved the back problem? It was fairly simple, and then to
I mean, as I say, going from like
yeah,
they broke his back, like if they're going for the broke his back, how are they going to fix that? I don't understand. And I was thinking, is it going to be some sort of extension of the leg technology? But then how's he going to even get out of the prison? I don't know. It felt a bit easy, but that's what I meant about the whole. It went too quickly almost. Because we see him get his back punched and the vertebrae are supposedly put into place when he's hanging.
Yeah.
And the guy says, like, you'll hang there till you can stand. And then we get the kind of flashback with Ra's al Ghul, or a vision with Ra's al Ghul. And at that point, he's already grown like some, I don't know, for me, 5 months facial hair, but for Bruce Wayne, probably like a couple of hours or so. So it feels like that's meant to be some time past there.
Aye.
And then when we go back after that vision, it's as if it's been maybe weeks or so. I don't know how many weeks, whatever. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to recover for that? I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I thought his back was broken, so I didn't know or expect what was going to happen with the vertebrae thing. It was okay. It worked for the story.
Yeah,
It didn't take me out of it.
It's a rock and a hard place, isn't it? If you go full on with the back breaking, then you're in that. You can't go anywhere really. He chose to just kind of do it half and half, didn't he?
I mean, to be honest, like I never thought about it. I never thought this when I was watching the film, but I guess there was a logical way that they could have taken it with Bruce being out of the game, or like his back being broken at least. With the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character,
Yeah.
they could have went away with that. But then I think I don't think they would have had Batman in it. They wouldn't have had him as Batman. I don't think for the rest of the film. I think it would have been more of a building to that.
Right, aye.
Which I don't think people would have wanted.
Yeah, because in the Nightfall ends with Azrael taking down Bane, doesn't it?
Nightfall Part 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it worked okay for the film, as I say. Like, if you have to put logic out the window a little bit in some places in this film, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's totally forgivable.
Yeah,
It's nothing. I think we can agree. Anything we say that we don't like, or things that kind of made me think a wee bit, does not impact on how much we enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't really take away from the film at all.
Got a few minor quibbles.
Yeah, but like, so same here. I've got some stuff as well, but like nothing that makes me think like it's a shit film or that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As I say, the kind of prison thing for me, like, you kind of knew he was gonna like take maybe like 3 turns to get out of the well. I knew he was gonna have to deal with the rope as soon as I saw the
I don't know,
kids.
call me naive. I thought he was going to go out the second time.
Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, it got you. You did kind of think, but I thought if he gets out this time, I'm going to be a wee bit disappointed.
Right, aye.
Like, I thought the first time, I thought they were going to get him out the first time, and I thought I was going to be like, I was thinking that's a bit easy, isn't it? But I mean, it worked on me. But I thought after he fell the first time, I thought they were going to be like 2 or 3 times at this. And then you saw the kid's story, like Bane, supposedly. That had me suckered. Like, I'll tell you in a bit, because there's some stuff, but I knew he was going to have to do it without the rope. Once you saw the kid doing it without the rope, I thought that's going to be the key.
Right.
I didn't know why it was going to be the key, and obviously it makes sense when he says about the fear of dying.
Aye.
That's what in the end makes you succeed. We'll go we're not spoiling anything here. We've told people spoilers, but the Talia al Ghul thing.
Oh, aye.
I mean, again, I know you had some reservations about the whole storyline in Begins, but I mean, really, like, to have like a Ra's al Ghul story is fucking pretty cool. You know what I mean? It's it's like a character you wouldn't really. It's not like one of the Rogues Gallery, or, I mean, we've had like a full Batman thing now. We've really only had 2 Rogues Gallery people, Scarecrow and Joker.
Right, yeah.
But to have like kind of Talia in a film, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of something you never thought you would get outside like something like the animated series or whatever. This was spoiled for me. I knew she was Talia before I went into the film.
Right, yeah.
I mean, there was a shot released ages ago, and it wasn't nothing I went looking for, but like, I mean, everyone theorised about it anyway. It was her standing top of a tumbler, one of the with like the kind of robes on, and she didn't look as if she was like a CEO of Wayne Enterprises or anything like that. So that was kind of spoiled for me. But the whole Bane misdirection story, because that is basically Bane's origin, is the kind of mother getting put in the prison and he's born in prison. I was still expecting them to be like, oh, and he's got a sister, and her name's Talia, and I thought that was going to be the thing, but actually that was quite effective. I thought the bait and switch.
Yeah, I liked it because it kind of left Bane quite enigmatic at the same time as giving him like some character backstory, so you weren't quite sure.
Yeah, because I did wonder, like, when said about being out who the helper was.
Right,
but then I kind of forgot about it. After those scenes, I kind of forgot about it. But it totally makes sense, because they basically tell you it. They basically tell you what's going on, because they say that, he gets beat up in the prison, or like something happens to him in the prison, and that's why he ends up with the mask.
Yeah.
So no lies have been told. It's just the way that it's been portrayed. It's quite clever. But the bit where she kind of volunteers to help them to find the bomb in the truck, again, I knew as soon as he shows her the reactor, I'm like, this is not boding well, you know what I mean?
Right.
But to be honest, I didn't know whether she was going to be a good Talia or a bad Talia, because in the comics she's been portrayed both ways, as a kind of the Catwoman kind of bad guy, good guy kind of thing. And I mean, after she sleeps with him and stuff like that, you kind of think, you know, there's people saying that was that to take away his chi, like, because she knew he was going to go and face Bane the next night. I love it though, like it's kind of like the Batman 89 where like she's like, let's go away in the plane, like kind of, and he's like, maybe, but no the night. Right. It's like, it's very much like, I'm right here. Bye. He's like, Alfred, put the power back on. Oh, just kidding. I thought that was pretty funny. So when that happened, when the reveal happened, like it was still, even though like I still wondered whether she was going to be a good Talia, as I say, but that totally got me. Like it worked when I was saying that she volunteers to help them to find this truck.
Right.
And they give her the what they call the radiation meter. Say that. Right. And it says that if the peg spikes below 200, like give me the sign, and I'll geo track it, or put a wee tracer on it. As soon as she like gave him the nod, like you knew that, like to me, I like knowing that she was meant to tell it, I knew that was it, because it was just a subtle filmmaking thing, but not letting us see the needle spike.
Right. Okay.
Told me that she didn't see it spike, you know. It was just a wee kind of thing, but it was like you can, you know, you're not necessarily going to see that, but like to me that told me that it never happened, you know, because it was quite a big thing, you know, to try and find this bomb, and not showing us that wee spike. I thought was kind of, it's quite cool, you know, because away I knew at that point that she was evil Talia. Right. Like we're saying about the character moments and stuff like that. Like I was talking to someone afterwards about the way I felt about the Rachel Dawes character in Batman Begins, and the fact that the romantic relationship comes out of nowhere. It's just like they seem to be old friends, and then all of a sudden, at the end of the film, she's kissing him. Whereas in this, like the Miranda Tate relationship, I thought was really quick, right? But I felt it was far more natural. It didn't seem like I didn't think it was like out of left field when they started getting together, because you know what I mean. It was kind of, I don't know, it felt more natural than the kind of Katie Holmes,
right? Maybe
Rachel Dawes thing in the first one. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, how did you feel though about the hooking up with Selena Kyle at the end?
Well, I thought that was kind of that kind of was earned as well.
Yeah.
The only thing I had a wee glance and thought to myself, just like the whole guns thing. I mean, when she takes out Bane, basically. Yeah. I thought, like, I don't know whether Batman, you know, vertical commas, whatever, wouldn't he be with her after that?
All right.
You know what I mean? But I guess he's not Batman anymore. Aye. By that point, spoilers.
Yeah. Side note: wasn't it a terrible line? She comes in and shoots him down and gives that line, the kind of one-liner. About the whole no guns thing.
But I did feel it was a little kind of. I felt it was like, oh, is that Bane dead then?
Yeah, that's it. I felt it was a bit of a concession to the 12A certificate.
Possibly.
Like, well, you said a serious death, so we have to kind of lighten the mood straight away. But back to Nicole. Yeah, them hooking up, going away at the end, I felt that was fairly justified. It wasn't like kind of out of nowhere, but they could have done more to build that relationship through the film. That's what I was saying. I felt she was a wee bit underdeveloped.
I mean, like, you can, when she kisses him before Miranda Tate does, you know, before they get together. Yeah. So like at that point, like I don't know, just with the way he plays it and stuff like that, he's kind of. I guess there's obviously an attraction there. Aye. And I mean, there's no implication necessarily that they're together. Well, you know what I mean. They happen to be together, but you know. Oh no, I know.
She asked him to go away.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but there's no, you know, definitive like these characters are going to end up living happily ever after. And you know, it's a nice, it's a perfect ending. You know what I mean? But you know, they don't have kids or anything like that. I don't think at that point. Right. So it's not like you know, as Alfred talks about when he's in his visions. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean that's something people sometimes criticise Nolan for, being more interested in his male characters than his female.
Well, that was something I heard as well about, like, everything bad in this movie comes from like the chick stealing she steals the pearls and his fingerprints, which leads to, you know, all the bad stuff, his money, losing money, and then the evil chick at the end comes and stabs him, tries to blow up the city. It's like, don't deal with chicks. We're evil, son. But no, I thought, I mean, I was quite happy. Like, I liked how the final shot of Bruce Wayne, he looks, he looks happy. You know what I mean? And we see that Selena Kyl's there in the foreground, but stays nice and tight on, because obviously Alfred's looking at him.
Yeah.
So I was hoping they weren't gonna like change focus to her and her look round and wink at him or something. I was hoping to hell they would do that. I mean, I was thinking actually they were just gonna leave it and just cut from Alfred looking up and smiling,
right?
And that would have worked. I think that would have totally worked. That would have been totally. And if they even went hit credits after that, I think it would have been fine. But I'm glad we saw him. It was nice to see him kind of living, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is the kind of point of the film. You know what I mean? So like when he takes it out, and then we see that like, shot of Batman, it just looks like. So it was a nice, like coda, if you will, getting the Alfred thing. You know, as soon as you see him pulling up to that cafe, you know what's happening.
Well, you kind of wonder that last shot when he's still in the bat. Is he thinking, is it better just to die as Batman? But obviously, the point of the film is that it resolves himself to be Bruce Wayne again. So,
I don't think it was he was wondering if it was to die. I think it was. I think he knew. I don't know what he was thinking at that moment.
Right.
But I think he knew what he was doing as soon as he comes. As soon as he comes back to the city, and
well,
he knew what he
it's
was
just
doing.
strange that no one would choose to put that shot in there where he's got a blank look in his face. It's no him hitting autopilot or whatever. You know what I mean?
Maybe you're right. I mean, I don't know. But it was such a nice moment, just like getting like the end. You know what I mean? I thought that seeing him in the cafe and stuff like that.
What did you think of the bat in general?
I liked it.
Did you?
I guess don't know about the name. The Bats maybe. I don't know. It's alright. It works for the film. I like the scene where Lucius is like, he's in seeing him and he's like, seeing him in ages, and he sees her like, the conversation just to end a lot different, and he's like, I'll feel you some stuff anyway. I thought that was a nice wee touch. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah. I don't know about the design of it though. It looks something more like out of Alien rather than Batman.
It was quite future, or like Terminator, like the things in Terminator, like the kind of car things out in the future. But then again, looking at the tumbler, it's not exactly very Batmobile-esque, is it? So it's kind of, I thought it looked like a flying tumbler. Tumbler. At certain points, but I know I liked it. I thought it was pretty fucking badass when he goes into the thing in the Batpod, which I didn't mind in this film as much. I grew on the Batpod a wee bit.
Okay, right.
I don't know, something about Selena Kyle on it.
Right.
It didn't offend me, How much, I mean, I don't know about you, but as a Batman fan, I was so glad that they had the Batman Gordon kind of let him see the line he gives him, about being a hero.
Yeah.
And like a hero can even be someone putting a coat around a young boy, like to let him know his world hasn't ended or whatever. I thought that was really nice. Yeah. That was a moment I was kind of hoping for something. I was kind of hoping we would get like a Bruce Wayne fighting as Bruce Wayne.
Right, yeah.
Kind of thing. But I like the way he was saying, this way Batman can be anyone. Everyone can be the hero. But I liked that moment with him and Gordon. I thought that was good. But did you like the way Oldman? I mean, I really like Gary Oldman. I thought he did brilliant in this, but when he says Bruce Wayne, when he goes, it sounds almost like he's disappointed a wee bit. But I thought that was quite nice, because it's almost like saying, like, as much faith as you put in me all these years, it's like it's because of what you did for me. It's like I couldn't have done this. The reason I do this is because of you, that So I thought that was quite nice. That he's kind of almost like giving, even though the amount of times he's tried to say thank you to him, it's like giving him he's responsible for it all almost. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Good as well that Gordon was kind of last to know, because the whole point, his character was, we need the symbol. He was like the guy that bought into the idea of the symbol rather than who cares who he is. This guy's an ally.
So you said you had some kind of like flaws with the film.
One wee thing I was saying about the concessions for 12A.
Yes.
There was a few scenes where it felt that they'd sort of try to avoid the violence for the same thing, like the scene where Bane breaks the doctor's neck. It's like cut away. Then you see him falling, and I mean,
there's a couple of scenes like that with Bane telling people and you don't really see it.
I would have liked to have seen that. I think not necessarily for the violence sake, but I think it would have made it more impactful if it was a bit more explicit. But what can you do? I don't know.
I get what you're saying. I did feel as if it was being a little soft at those bits, but there was another bit. I'm trying to think. There was a bit that I thought was pretty graphic or violent, to go along with the Joker scene with the pencil. You know, I thought, because I would think that's quite, you know, up there for like getting away with in a 12A. I can't remember what it was now. I seem to think it was the bit where Bane get blew away, but like, I don't think that was it. It wasn't. I think even just the violence, the beat up that Batman gets. Okay. I thought that was pretty brutal. For 12A, I thought. You know.
I'll throw this to you.
Yes.
Is this your perfect Batman
I'll catch
film?
It. It's definitely a perfect ending to these Batman films. Right. It's a perfect last Batman film. For me, I think Dark Knight might still clinch it, simply because it took it mainstream. Like it took seriously the character of the Joker in Batman in the world. And didn't there was no kind of jokey sense in that film. Right. You know what I mean? It was very serious, and kind of none of it was, you know, the one-liners are still there in Batman Begins. Dark Knight took it straight down the line. Right. After Dark Knight, I don't think you could have asked for a better ending than this film. I don't know. I mean, it didn't do everything that I would have done. Right. Or I would have liked to have seen in a Batman film ever. But I mean, I don't think you could have ended this trilogy or done a third film any better than this to the two ones that had come before. Yeah. I loved the 8 years later, the kind of, you know, not softer, but the kind of weaker Batman. Like kind of Dark Knight Returns almost, not going that far, but I liked the kind of little tones of that were there, and the fight sequences were immense. And even when he comes, there's a few light one-liners in this film back from Batman Begins, like when Selena Kyle disappears and he's like, so that's what that feels like. Right. Like, why is he talking in the voice still? Right. There's nobody else there. Why is he even saying it? Why is he not just thinking it to himself? That kind of stuff kind of makes me think, But the voice was better in this film. I didn't feel it was as modulated. Right. The Batman voice, I was more comfortable with it in this film than when I first saw Dark Knight. Right. I felt it was very like synthesized in that film. There's another, when Bane first meets him, like when he comes back, and he says like something like, you know, oh, you're back to that burn with your city or something like that. And he goes, no, I'm back to stop you. Right. You know, just saying like, oh, did he need to say anything? You know, it's and when he gets Bane, like beats him. I mean, that's the second battle. I mean, that's epic as well. And it's like, you're so like glad Batman's fucking taking him out. Yeah. And like when he starts like getting him his mask with his gauntlets. And once he starts doing that, and Bane's like kind of threatened, see the speed of that guy. Like, apparently, like, I've not seen Warrior, but apparently Tom Hardy like using that. It's him. It's not as if it's like, you know, it's enhanced or anything. But when he starts taking out that pillar, it does look as if it's like double speed or. Apparently, like, it happened. He does it in that as well. I don't know like, if it's aided at all. I don't think so. Apparently not. But it looked amazing. Like when he was breaking the. It really gave you a sense of like how much of a beating that Batman was taking at this time and before. But when he kicks him through the door, I was like, yes. But then like he's screaming at him in the voice, and it felt a wee bit kind of there's too much talking. Okay. But I think he was panicking because he was saying that they only had 45 minutes from when this started to stop the bomb, and then like he's saying something. He says something to him, and he basically says like, then you'll have my permission to die, and he basically. Mean that thing I said to you? Yeah. Oh, sorry, mean that thing you said to me? Yeah. It didn't bother me too much. Yeah, I think because the dramatic tension was so high. Right? Yeah. I mean, again, it's nothing taken out it, but just looking back, I'm thinking, I don't know if you're talking about the perfect Batman film. I'm just thinking things. But I mean, I don't think I could have enjoyed this film anymore. I mean, I literally couldn't. I couldn't verbalise. I just kept saying epic and things like that afterwards. You're saying perfect Batman film, right? And I'm going a long way. I don't even know. Again, I don't know how to answer your question, because no, necessarily it wasn't necessarily my perfect Batman film. But when I think about all the elements of it, as I say, of the kind of him getting back into it and kind of coming back after 8 years, and building off of the stuff that was left at the end of the Dark Knight, even though you didn't necessarily think of it that way. I mean, you didn't think of the Batman taking the rap in the Dark Knight as being a bad thing, you know, like this lie. You just thought like, oh, that's like, he is the hero that Gotham needs just now, or whatever, you know what I mean? And it, you know, turns those things that were so kind of epic and kind of valiant at the end of the Dark Knight, and makes them kind of this kind of thing that's eating away at Gotham from the founds up, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I just, it's hard. I can't say yes or no. I can't answer you. Okay. It's a perfect conclusion to these set of Batman films. Right. Yeah. there are things that Batman that I would like to see from a Batman film that I haven't seen yet, that haven't been in these 3 films, but I wouldn't trade them for that film.
Aye.
If I can have the film I want to see, like with all those elements in it, I don't even think that would necessarily be better than these films. You know, as the 3 films, or better than this film. It's just stuff that I would like to see in a Batman film, but I don't know how they would top these yet. I don't see. But I guess that's the way they felt with the 1989 Batman when it came out. I don't know, you know, if they probably I thought that would have been topped, but I think personally that's been topped.
Right.
I mean, sheer scale of this film. I mean, it's like the biggest. I think it's the biggest film in mod. You say like they don't do films like this anymore. It is literally the biggest film they've kind of made in recent times. I'd say it should have been like a kind of Cleopatra-esque, like, was it like 4 hours or something like that?
Right,
you know what I mean? It should have been that length, and I would have fucking watched the fuck out of it if it had been that length. It wouldn't have mattered to me. What about you? What do you think?
I'm gonna say it's a perfect Batman film.
Got you.
I think.
Okay, that would have been a better answer than my fucking diatribe.
Yeah.
Cut that.
Right.
Ask me again. Well, it's a perfect Batman. Sorry, Gary. It's a perfect Batman film. What do you think? Don't copy my answer now.
Yeah. I mean, no, I can't really pick any flaws at it except for the wee tiny wee things.
I'd say yeah.
Epic as fuck. Solves the problems I had with The Dark Knight. Incredible characters, real depth, real dark themes, amazing fight scenes. I mean, and some of the action scene set pieces and stuff. I mean, that's not really my thing, but I guess that's people want to see that, kids and stuff. So yeah, a perfect Batman film. Like my perfect film, I think would probably be a combination of Nolan's thematic depth and psychological depth with maybe Burton's visual style. Because I'm not that keen in the visual style of this film. It's okay, it's kind of that generic action Hollywood blockbuster style, sort of like metallic-y tones, I felt. And you know how he likes to do the extreme like shallow focus, which is something I don't mind, but I think I probably prefer like seeing everything deep focus, or like a flat like telephoto where you can see the background. It's a more objective viewing style where you're no conditioned by what the director's actually showing you, but because he likes to do that thing where it's like, see lights in the background, it's like blobs, like abstract little blobs of light. Aye, so I'd prefer to see like a more expressionistic style, like Burton having nods to like film noir and more kind of stylized lighting and stuff like that, than a more kind of realistic what Nolan does. And I would probably cut some of make it just more character based, which this is, but without the kind of big action scenes, which don't really interest me that much. So there you go, if you're interested.
No, definitely. I mean, I said to you before that they kind of feel more of the Sin City film. I feel like not necessarily the look or the kind of, I mean, that was still quite high, you know, a lot of action scenes and stuff, but that kind of feeling, kind of noir-esqueness to it, I feel would be a really good Batman film to see. I don't know if we'll see that though in the future if they're trying to tie it up with the Justice League, because I feel they'd have to unify the worlds. They couldn't have Batman in this dead, like, you know, film noir setting. I mean, they could still do it, I guess. I could still get the themes in there, but it's just when they bring them together, I don't know how it would work. But I mean, it would be if they could do that, I think that would be the way to do it. And I mean, I don't think we need to see another, like with the new Spider-Man. I don't think we need to see another origin. Right. You know, what do you think? You know, I mean, I think it would be wasting too much time. Yeah. I think to retread.
I think so. I mean, they can't top that now. So are they gonna do? I'm just gonna say, right, we'll use Batman. Maybe do smaller budget films with like some of the different stories, right? Rather than having to do the origins again.
And I mean, I'd like to personally see the kind of the Robin thing done. I mean, I don't know how they would do it. As I say, like Nolan had said he was staying away from it, and Christian Bale had said that like he wouldn't want to do the film if Robin was in it. Yeah, because he doesn't understand how it works, especially in their films. I can understand, and they kind of fit it in with the kind of replacement or the new, you know, and that works. But I'd quite like to see something like that handled well. Again, like something the animated series managed to work it in. Like the episode Robin's Reckoning. I mean, gives you Robin's origin. I mean, totally workable as a film. I think anyway. So there's elements of that in the kind of wider world. The kind of I'd like to see. Yeah. I'd like to see a
maybe at least a 15 in the future,
don't
but
think
whether or
you'll
not it's
get- nah.
economically viable or not,
I don't think they'll get it, unfortunately. But I think they need to start, like, films like this, they need to start, like, I mean, the amount of times they film stuff for TV versions in, like, R-rated films, you know, that you get the swearing taken out and someone's either dubbed in or they do 2 takes, you know what I mean? What would be the problem in having the close up of that guy's neck getting broken and doing like 15 showing? You know what I mean? Like a later night showing and having, like, because I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's not going to cost them anything more, but I mean, and on that shot where Bane breaks that guy's neck, you have 2 cameras set up. Anyway, just have one close up and one. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not as easy as that. I don't know, but I'd like to see something like that, giving us the option. You know, if they're wanting to appeal to kids, fair enough. Let them go and see it, but don't cut out all the adult themes, especially in some character like Batman's world. As I say, I think they pulled off the Joker pretty well for, you know, being restricted with that, but with how, like, insane he was. I can't believe I went to after the Avengers. I was kind of thinking, how is Dark Knight going to top this? Because I really did enjoy it. Well, just you're like, I don't know if Dark Knight can top, because I enjoyed Avengers so much, and I can't stress that enough. And which makes it even more, like, hopefully you know how more epic I think fucking Dark Knight is. You know what I mean? It's like that takes it to another level. You know what I mean? As I said, it literally makes the Avengers feel like makes it feel like a comic book movie. You know what I mean? And that's like so weird, but like this feels like a real fucking film. Nah, it was all good. As I say, like there was minor quibbles, but nothing that breaks the film for me at all. I can't wait to get it in Blu-ray to watch it again. What did you see? Some of the IMAX shots, man. Like when he loves his city views, you know, big landscape. But there was one. It was kind of echoed one that was similar to the one in Dark Knight, but it's basically looking down on the city as it passed over. Like it really gives you the vertical, you know, you do feel like, whoa. Some nice shots, so that's that.
I think I'm all out as well.
I'm exhausted, because it's like, if you'd said to me, like, you know, we're going to have films like these based on Batman, I would have said, like, it's never going to happen. This is like kind of, we're talking about perfect Batman films, whatever, but these are just the films you don't think we're going to get. Which is awesome. So who knows when we'll get another, like, apt adaptation of Batman in film.
A thumbs up from me.
Yep.
Want to give it a out of 10 or out of 5?
I'd give it a 10 for
Really,
for my level of enjoyment of the film when I watched it. It's got some minor niggles. I'd say, I mean, I'd give the Dark Knight a 10 as well. So I'd say this is equally as good, but it's a totally different. Its tones are different. You know, there's textures that are different, but I would, on the level of enjoyment and how much it blew me away after I came out, I would say it definitely gets a 10 for me. That's maybe just an immediate reaction, knee jerk, but man, just go with your Batman, boys. Come on, think about it.
I'm thinking there, because I was going to say 8 pushing 9, like just missing a 9 out of 10. Then what would I give the Dark Knight? It seems harsh to give it a 7 out of 10. What would you give Batman Begins? You know what I mean? It's like, Batman Begins. No, that's what I'm saying. But if you're going like to 7 for, I'd give this a 9 out of 10. I think. Yeah, it's fair enough, man. As I say, mine's maybe is coming from total fanboy geekgasm, but I don't care. As I say, I don't see how this film. I don't see how it could have been any better and not been what I expected. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, 'cause I didn't see I didn't know how it was going to end. You know, that's my point. Like, so if I was if it was to be how I would have done it, if you know what I mean, or how I would have thought or wanted it to end, then it probably wouldn't have been as good, because I would have known what was happening. You know what I mean? My only disappointing with it is it's like just a few things away from like me saying this is one of my top 10 films ever. I understand. If I had that more interesting visual style, I think that I would love, then it would be, but that's not really. It's kind of one of those things, catch-22, because I don't know if there was if they'd brought more of that visual style in, if it would have worked the same. What I'm saying is, I don't know if Nolan could do that necessarily. I don't know if anyone can maybe bring the two to meet perfectly. That's because that's a step towards more fantastical. I mean, it could happen, and we could be totally proven wrong. And I mean, maybe the next bunch of films will
just make us die, you know,
maybe.
like from the sheer awesomeness. But pretty close to with this one.
Yeah.
Did you cry?
I welled up a wee bit.
I did a wee bit when he said to Gordon about, you know, the wee boy and whatever, and I actually thought he was dead, you know,
Right.
and
Alfred at the grave.
aye,
that scene,
yeah.
And even the scene we're talking about the letter from Rachel. Pretty emotional.
Definitely. Nothing more we can say, Gary.
Aye.
If you've not seen it yet, sorry we've spoiled it. Fuck.
Aye.
If you have seen it, then want to go and see it again, go and see it again.
Okay, so thanks for joining us on these Batman specials. Look out for other special episodes
That's
coming
it.
your way.
Hopefully it won't be too long before we have to do another Batman special.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully long enough though, just to give it some time, breathing space.
Okay, so thanks for listening, and
Kapow.
It was a nightmare.